Over the last several weeks, it seems like Ice Cube cannot keep his name out of the headlines. This time, he's being attacked for participating in an interview with Tucker Carlson, the Fox News host that was fired back in May. Now, during the interview, they discussed Black Lives Matter, the COVID vaccine, and the presidency of former President Barack Obama. This recent interview, along with Cube's photo with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., has fans wondering what his true agenda is, with some even calling him a sellout. However, this isn't the first time that name has been thrown at Cube. He's been fired back at his critics ever since his meeting with Trump about the contract with Black America. Today we have our Company Hype analyst, Capone and Pierre, calling to the show, along with Marcus Board, to give their thoughts and reactions. But before we get started, I want to take a look at a few clips of people calling Ice Cube out.
Black people who pretended to be close to me started running from me. Ice Cube started melting on me. These who play hard pretend they're gangsters. But when the real gangster comes on the scene, they punk out. Scared to do an album with me now. Scared of what the white folks gonna say. Some of you seen it on TV. The new one that just came out with Scarface. He say something about put my gat in your mouth or my gun in your mouth and make you vomit. I'm down with Khalid Abdul Muhammad. But when it's time to be down with Khalid Muhammad, ain't no goddamn Ice Cube nowhere to be found. He's melting somewhere on the sidelines. Punk.
You've seen black person after black person after black person after black person throwing themselves on the altar of Trump with nothing in return, and Ice Cube is the latest one. For Ice Cube to say, well, I talked to the Democrats, but they said they couldn't do anything after the election because they don't hold the power right now. He is one of my favorite rappers, and if we were talking about making a great album or some of the other projects he's done, that's all in. But to sit down with that man who only uses black people for caricatures, only for photo ops, it is insulting. Yes, we need to be in the room, but it needs to be the right people in the room. We need people from education, from finance, from medicine, from medical, from prison reforms. People who have done this for a living and not made a couple of banging albums.
You know, when Ice Cube came out and said, I don't know where he gets the idea. Like, Ice Cube, we heard you tell us that Jerry Heller was evil. We heard you saying these things over and over and over. How now can you say you don't know where this came from? He put out a whole picture of like this Monopoly board that was on the backs of black men sitting around the table and said, all we have to do is stand up. You have Kanye trying to stand up, and now you have people like you being weak. This is what you've been pushing into our minds for years.
A lot of energy for sure, so I want to break this down into parts. Pierre, I'm going to come to you. I want to get your reaction, and also, what are your thoughts about Ice Cube meeting with people that may not have the best interest for black people's progress?
This is a good one. We feel this racism, we feel the negative of America every day as a black person, as black people. We just feel it every day. So when it comes to race, I don't know, how can I say it? We're just tired. Like Ice Cube talking, he has a history of being pro-black. You know, let's be honest, you know, he was one of the first ones that was always against the white man, the businesses, whatever, so forth. So when he speaks, now we expect a certain amount of certain thing. You know, he's got to speak a certain way. If he doesn't speak that way for racism, he's going to get caught out there and people are going to jump on him. However you want to look at it, if it doesn't sound right, you know, they're gonna go against him. DL had a great question, a great thing, like why do they always want to meet with celebrities? Why do these people who can make these moves in Congress or whatever, these presidents or whatever, speak with those? They're not people who can really do something about what's happening. I think they're infatuated with sitting with Ice Cube or sitting with Steve Harvey, some of these congressmen, instead of they fear to sit next to a person that knows legislation, knows what we really need, how we need it, how to go about it exactly. And that's why I feel like they don't want to meet with people like Ice Cube. But Ice Cube's in a hard position where he's trying to fight for us. But at the same token, if it's not correctly said, we're going to look at him like, nah, bro, that's not how it's going to roll. And this newer generation ain't rocking with Ice Cube like the generation I came up with that we were there. And, you know, it's just he's in a hard place. If it ain't coming out right, we don't want to hear it. So, but I do applaud him for trying. But you know, trying is one thing, getting stuff done is something different. And I don't know if Ice Cube is the person to get stuff actually done. He may make some noise, but to get that stuff really done, I think you need somebody in that position that can talk to these people and get it done. who know the system.
Capone, let me bring you in. Same question for you. What's your reaction? And, what are your thoughts about Ice Cube meeting with people that may not have the best interest for Black people progressing?
The fact that he's able to meet with them, to me, is a big plus, because ain't nothing revealed on what's been said. What is he there for? What is he trying to do? I know that we do the insinuating, and he made a certain statement about platinum and all of this type of stuff, which the D.L. Hughley's are against and everybody else is against. The fact that he met up with them, to me, is a big accomplishment. As Pierre said, they look at rappers and TV stars as people who are influenced. We're influenced by them. So, of course, the political people are just looking for votes, and they're looking for, hey, I'll speak to Ice Cube, sure. And, he has a great following. And if we get on the right page with him, we'll get voters. That's all they're looking at it as. As Black people, some of the things that he said is very true. There was no change with Barack Obama. So, he called it out for what it is, and a lot of people don't speak the truth. So I can't see nothing wrong with him meeting up with people.
Marcus, let me bring you in. Thank you for joining us on this conversation as well. I love your reaction also, but is there any benefit or any, is it helpful for him to be meeting with people that may not have, share the interest of Black people progressing? Is there any benefit that can come out of this? Is it necessary? What do you think?
That's a tough question. I mean, historically, we've seen this. We've seen Booker T. Washington aligning with conservatives. Jackie Robinson was endorsing Richard Nixon. We've seen folks kind of turn that direction in an attempt to say and make everybody realize that the Democrats aren't helping us either. So why don't we check in with the Republicans? I get the logic, but I think, to Pierre's point, you have to then follow through. And I'm not sure that Ice Cube meeting with an elected official or meeting with, in this case, awful person like Tucker Carlson is necessarily helpful or useful for anything. As far as the meeting itself, though, I think Cube is a great example of folks who are pro-Black, who are interested in ending oppression, but who are also kind of conservative. And I think a lot of times as Black people, we have this thing where we will be conservative, but we'll never get with the Republicans. And the reality is that race and politics work in such a way that if you support the policies anyway, then you're basically doing the same thing. And I think that's what we're seeing here with Cube.
So let me bring you in, Pierre. What do you think? Why do you think people are calling Ice Cube a sellout? I know you said, this generation doesn't feel the way that your generation did about Ice Cube. So why do you think it is? Why do you think so many people are calling him a sellout right now?
Well, like I said, back in my days, politically, he's one of the first ones that get on the mic and speak against the oppressors. And now he's speaking against them. He's not going 0 to 100 like he did when he was younger. He's trying to work with them. Before, he wasn't trying to work with them. He was calling them out. Crackers, this, devils, Jews, all this. Now he's more trying to work it out. Maybe he's maturer now. He's like, maybe that didn't work out. That didn't work. It sounded good on record, but now I'm got to sit here and talk to these people. Me calling them crackers and Jews just ain't gonna make them change stuff. So let me talk to them and see what they can do to help us. And people don't want to hear that on his side. Like, nah, do the same energy you had on your albums now in conversations with these people. And it doesn't work like that. You just can't go up to a white person, call them a Jew, and think they're going to change the politics. That's not how it works. You got to get inside and make things happen. And people don't want to see him get inside or find another method of how he's going. And it just seems like he's meeting with some of the most, anti-Black people, however you want to call it, or anti what we need people. And it doesn't seem like something's getting done. He's meeting with them. He's sitting there talking to him, but we're like Marcus says, what's going to happen? What's happening with it in there? Are you changing anything? Or you just getting a photo op? Or they just getting a photo op with you and say, I'm down with Ice Cube. I had a meeting with Ice Cube. Well, if you ain't said nothing, ain't do nothing, then damn that meeting. We tired of just meetings. We want some, we want some resolve, and we haven't seen it. So I think that's why they're kind of going against him if they don't see some real resolve.
So Capone, I saw you nodding your head, so I'd love to get your thoughts on this. What do you think? Why do you think so many people are calling Ice Cube a sellout? I know you were agreeing with Pierre, it looked like.
Pierre made perfect sense of what he said, and he's right. Ice Cube has been, but as you get older, you start to realize certain things aren't, I can say this, and maybe this will make a good example. If I know what I know now, I would have voted for Trump instead of Biden, if that makes sense.
I saw Marcus' reaction, so I'm gonna bring Marcus in. I think this is because I will say I've seen a lot of people say that. I've seen a lot of people say that because, it's just some people feel like I would prefer for you to just do it in my face than to tell me something and not do anything. So a lot of people do feel that way. So Marcus, let me bring you in. I love to get your thoughts on the reaction that I saw, but also too, why do you think people are calling Ice Cube a sellout? And I'll add this in too. Is there even a way to use Ice Cube's celebrity? Because everybody's saying, well, they're sitting down to meet with Ice Cube, but they won't meet with the people who are actually doing the work every day. Is there a way to partner Ice Cube with his celebrity and them feeling more at ease to sit with him with people that are doing the work every day to get the job done? What do you think, Marcus?
Yeah, I think there's a great example of somebody who used their celebrity in a way that uplifted the folks who were on the ground doing local community work every day, and that was Kaepernick. So when Kaepernick took his stand, he ended up donating $1 million and then raising $1 million for local grassroots organizations. And I think that was powerful, that he continued to do his thing and get his bag, but he was saying, I'm not the one who needs to be in the room. There are other people, and I'm going to use my platform to help put them forward. As far as the Trump, Biden, Hillary Clinton stuff, I was a little, shit, Capone, damn. But I will say this, that the best explanation I've heard about this is from a woman named Barbara Ransby. She wrote a book called Ella Baker and the Black Freedom Movement. You should definitely check that out. But what she said is that there's a real big difference between fighting a defensive battle versus fighting an offensive battle. Now, I personally do not like the Democratic Party, never have, probably never will. I don't very obviously like the Republican Party either. And I think when it comes to the Republican Party in general, you're always talking about fighting a defensive battle. You're trying to protect what you have. So at this stage, we have lost the Voting Rights Act. We have lost education gains. We've lost housing gains. And now they're coming for Black studies and the study of anything Black in educational spaces. We're fighting to keep things, as opposed to with a Biden or the Hillary Clinton, it's an offensive battle. We're going to push them to give us more, to get more progress and advance more. And so in that sense, no, I don't think I would ever vote for Trump. And at the same time, I completely, fully understand people who are wildly dissatisfied with the Democratic Party or with Barack Obama or with politics in general. I'm here for that. I just think that the solution to it is not to turn towards a group of people who would just as soon see us dead.
Yeah, Pierre, I see you. Let me bring you in. What are your thoughts? What you thinking?
I agree with that. I think one of the biggest things that we just keep missing is supporting each other. When we show we have the power to support each other and we don't need everything. Now, look, America owes us, they owe us for where we're at. So we should be inclined to have some of this stuff. But I think we need to feel good about ourselves amongst ourselves too. We fight ourselves and we fight the white man, the government. We as a Black person, it's traumatic. Just a daily life is traumatic for a Black person. But I think if we support each other more, and as far as financially, business-wise, if we do that more often, we're going to feel better about ourselves, knowing that we support ourselves, and we're putting money back into our own communities and stuff. And we can make moves that way also to show we make enough money to use. I'm talking about celebrities, anybody who makes money, business people, to show each other some support. And I think then we won't be sucking on the tit of America so much and be so desperate to suck on the tit of America and say, hold on. And I'm not saying America doesn't owe us certain things, but if we get to the point where we support ourselves, we just feel better. You can't tell me when you don't go shop at a Black store, a Black business, that you get treated right, you buy stuff, you feel good. I remember your story. You got rid of all your clothes that wasn't made by a Black person, by Black people, all Black made product, clothing, Tiffany. You can't tell me you didn't feel good when you look into your closet and say, man, these are all Black owned stuff. We need more of that in ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And then we won't worry about and be so pressed. We can still fight for rights of what America owes us. I get that. But I think we need to fight for it, show that we are together and don't fight as much. And I think it's a lot more relief and our mental stress, man, because this is messing our minds up, man. We, you know, this whole, the white folks ain't crazy about it. Tucker Carlson ain't gonna help us. Trump, all of them ain't gonna help us just to be helping us. If he sees we doing it ourselves, they start turning around and say, hold on, you taking money away from us? You're doing this, you're supporting yourself?
Right.
Okay, we want it from you then. Well, then this is how we need to be treated if you want it from us, our financial, you know, our money.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. It makes me think of this book that I read called Black Fortunes, and it talked about a woman by the name of Mary Ellen Pleasant. She was the same way. She was a Black woman, but she presented herself to be white so that she could get money and go out and do these things, but she would go back and take it to her community so that they can do for self. You know, that's a big thing that a lot of people talk about. But also, too, on the other side, you have a lot of people with Ice Cube, instead of, I don't know, maybe calling them on the phone or having these conversations in private, you see them taking it to the internet. And Pierre, you bring it up, you know, supporting one another. Let me get your thoughts. So do you agree with people, you know, Black people? I've seen D.L. Hughley call him out, amongst other people, calling Ice Cube out publicly instead of maybe handling it on the back end so that we can unite more together. What are your thoughts, Pierre?
You're right. I mean, one thing we're good at, if we don't like you, we're gonna call you some names. Clown, coon, whatever. We try to cut you deep and shit. And other people may hear that and say, man, huh?
I say, and Uncle Tom.
Oh yeah, you know, so you know, we know we're so vicious to each other when we have a difference of opinion. So if Ice Cube is doing stuff we don't like, yeah, I believe in, you know, not putting it out, especially around white folks, that we don't like him, what he's doing and so forth. What service is that doing to let white folks know that we don't like him? They're sitting there like, yeah, talk about him, shit. They excited about it. You know, they're happy. That's what they want to hear. So, you know, putting us out in front of each other, Black people, I don't think to call each other names like that. No, I think put them to the side and say, hey, this is what we feel, or let other people keep trying to push also. But he's trying to do something right. It may not come out right, it may not look right for us, but I believe he's trying to do the right thing. It may not be the way everybody likes it and wants it to be, but I believe in my heart, Ice Cube is trying to, and so many others. They might not be doing the right steps, but to call them names and say you ain't shit for doing that and we don't sell out and all that, come on, man. The dude trying to do the best he can for us. What are you doing at home watching this? What are you doing to change the narrative? What are you doing? But except doing this. Coon, what are you doing in your community? That's all. What are you doing?
They used to call them Twitter fingers. I don't know if they'll call them X fingers now, but yeah, people get behind screens and completely forget. Marcus, let me bring you.
Piano playing asses.
Marcus, I'm gonna bring you in, and then Capone, I'm gonna come to you. Marcus, same thing. I love your thoughts on, you know, do you agree with people calling Cube out like a D.L. Hughley and other Black people? But also, too, do you think people are calling Ice Cube out because they feel like he's doing for self, like this is more about him than it is about, you know, us or the community? What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I think Capone said it earlier, which is that when Cube was younger, he was saying all kinds of wild stuff. And so I think that there are different people who fight in different ways. I think, yeah, when I was younger, yeah, I would say a whole bunch of stuff with you and be doing my work in the community. And the big motivation there for me was that I thought when I was younger that if I just corrected this person, then things would be better. And that's not exactly how things work. And so we're going to get into this on No Capital, a conversation around who should we be organizing with, who should we be spending time with and listening to, and what that might actually look like solution-wise. But as far as Cube is concerned, it seems like he wants to eat his cake and have it too. Like he wants to be an advocate. He wants to speak up. He wants to speak out on political issues. But then when people criticize him, he's like, well, I'm just doing what I want to do. And it's like, okay, you do have the right to do what you want to do with your platform. But the people who uphold that platform have a right to speak up and speak out about it. And so there's a kind of a catch-22 here where he is trying to have it both ways. And you can't, you can't do that. Like it's you want it to be one way, but it's not that way. It's the other way, as they said on The Wire. So I think, yeah, I mean, he's going to continue to take L's because he is pushing an agenda that is not particularly good for Black people. And he's saying that it is. And he's not the first person to ever do that. And I'm sure plenty of people do like his agenda. I personally don't. But he's going to continue to catch verbal hands online for his takes.
He gonna
keep getting it. He gonna keep catching it.
Capone, Pierre, not the hands. Capone, when you were in studio, we kind of touched on, how you felt about seeing, Black people going at it online. So I'd love to get your thoughts on this as well. What do you think? How do you feel about people calling him out, like a D.L. Hughley and other Black people using their platforms to call out Ice Cube? What do you think?
I think it's wrong. And I think that it's been in the white man's agenda to make us feel like we're, if we speak on each other like this is something that gets us, it gets other people riled up. A D.L. Hughley, if he says something, he's going to get people to agree with him and disagree with him and get you riled up. And this is a game that they've been playing with us for years. When you say, Pierre says, we need to come together, we've done that. We've done it, and they bombed Philadelphia. They bombed Black Wall Street. Anytime we try to come together and do something right, we don't have the powers of missiles to bomb somebody back when they do it to us. So a lot of people are just getting tired. As we're getting older, we're getting tired of this fight and start to come individual. And you say, you know what? Let me just live the rest of my life the best way I can live it, because nothing is going to change. And no matter how much we try it, you clearly see that the racism is knocking us down, and people are not talking about it. And so when you get a person like an Ice Cube that talks about racism or whatever, they don't want to hear it now. We just don't want to hear it. And that's where we stand at now, where everybody lives their own individual life. They made who they want to make rich. They call this, Ice Cube is actually being blackballed now, right? He can't make movies and all of that stuff. And he's a great actor. But, the powers that be said, yeah, I ain't doing it no more. He can't do it. And that's where we're at.
Yeah, he talked about the big three as well. Pierre, I see you over there. What you got going on? What are you thinking?
In all due respect, Capone and Marcus, Black Wall Street was what, 1921? Huh?
Mm-hmm. 1921.
Right. And the Philadelphia, I'm thinking you're talking about that Black movement
85.
where they bombed the whole thing. Okay, that was 1972 or something like that.
85.
We're talking about
85.
85. Okay, 85. We're talking 40 years ago. Let me tell you something. I'm always going to fight for Black folks to move forward. I ain't gonna never concede the fence and say, well, the white people be hurting us when we do that. We try to get together, they push us apart. Well, get together again and again. This is too important of us as people to let these people just say, well, we're gonna bomb you, we're gonna hold you back. And we say, okay, sir, I ain't gonna do nothing else no more. Damn that, I'm gonna keep on fighting until it's right. You fight for stuff in your career. When people don't let you host something or work on something, you don't say, man, put me down twice, I ain't gonna do it. You ain't hired me twice. You say, Capone, well, I'm coming back for the third time. I'm coming back because you believe and you feel that. Your career, you keep pushing and pushing. There's many things in your career has been obstacles that you didn't stop and say, fuck it, this ain't working out. You kept on fighting. And I'm gonna keep fighting these white folks over and over again, try to organize us as Black people, show that we need to support each other, because I will not let these white folks win this war against Black folks. That ain't happening. I don't care until the day you put me in a casket. I'm gonna keep fighting, and hopefully the next generation say, you know what, we fighting for you. So I'm not worried about 1912, 1922. That's a whole long time ago. They did what they did back then. Well, white people, but I don't want to beat that out. Them folks did back then. But back then, you know what I'm saying? That was back then when we were shuffling and jiving and scared a little bit of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Today, no, I don't want no more shuffling and jiving. We're going to fight this and keep on fighting until we get what we need, what we deserve as human beings. That's my say.
Yeah, no.
Follow up that?
Yeah, please.
So obviously, full agree. And I think that's why it's so important to maintain hope. What Jesse used to say, keep hope alive. This is something that Black feminism is really pushing right now, is this idea that you need to have hope. Hope is a discipline. It's something that you have to practice, because if you stop believing that change is possible, then you start to take different routes and paths towards freedom and liberation, some of which might put you at odds with other Black people. So like I said, I went back through the whole thing, back as far as Booker T. Washington, who was born in slavery. We've always had Black people who have different ideas about what it takes to get free. And I think in studying politics, what I've learned is that there are some routes that are a dead end. And so Tucker Carlson, for all I can say about Ice Cube, Tucker's a dead end. That is not going to get Black people free. That is not going to get anybody safer. That's not going to get any opportunities for us, access for us. That's not something that will actually work. That being said, there are choices we have to make about who we choose to cooperate with, because I think we all agree that, shouting out, name calling isn't exactly what the work is either. Although it may say very clearly that, hey, we're not with this person. And so I think navigating those conversations is complicated. And there are a lot of different communities among Black people who are doing it in different ways. But yeah, the ones who want to holler at Tucker or go to Fox News or talk to the Republicans, as we're going to talk about a little bit on No Capital, I'm good off that line. They'll be all right. They don't need me.
No. Man, listen, I love the energy. Y'all know how I feel about our people as well. The fight will continue. Now, speaking of Black people coming together, and Marcus, you've mentioned this a couple times. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we're going into No Capital. We are seeing Black Republicans come together for the statement of slavery benefited Black people, which was crazy to me. But I'm going to go to commercial break, and when we come back, Marcus, I am letting you take over on this crazy topic. We'll be back right after this.
Welcome back to Comedy High News. I'm Marcus Board with No Capital. Today we're talking about Florida, where Governor Ron DeSantis decided to teach students that slavery was a benefit for Black people. Now, rather than talking about that foolishness, we're going to talk about the Black Republicans who have decided, finally, that they're going to be pro-Black. So Tim Scott has a quote, Republican from South Carolina, that says, "What slavery was really about was separating families, about mutilating humans, and even raping their wives. It was just devastating." He continued to say, "So I would hope that every person in our country, and certainly running for president, would appreciate that. People have bad days. Sometimes they regret what they say, and we should ask them again to clarify their positions," close quote. So Capone, talk to me. You got some love in your heart for these Black Republicans? What's up? You and Tim Scott about to go to brunch? What we doing?
Hell no. I don't. Listen, man, anybody that can put themselves in a position to think that slavery was something that we wanted is mentally. And this is something that's going around. I don't know where it's coming from, but it's a lot of different people that's getting this mental bug that's really making them think as stupid as they are thinking. And so, no, I have no love for them.
Okay.
At all.
All right. Yeah, I mean, hard to disagree with that. Pierre, tell me a little bit about what you think we can do in schools, right? Because a big part of this is revolving around how we're teaching kids and how we need to educate them about the truth. But the reality is the truth has a lot of sides to it, not including slavery being a benefit, but it does have a lot of sides. So how do you think we can get some more revolutionary pro-Black education? How do we get our kids to start talking like you? That's really the question.
Well, I'll answer that, but this Tim Scott guy from South Carolina, he was almost on my. I felt it for a second, but he acted like he was apologetic for the dude saying maybe. All I felt was, then nigga, was he tap dancing away, y'all? Was it tap dancing? What we doing here? Out of here, nigga! Get out of here, man! That bullshit. But back to what you were saying with the school systems, man. No, it needs to be taught. You know what America did to Black folks need to be taught just as they did to Native Americans. Because I don't want these young white kids growing up thinking that they're better than us for what they heard in the history, because the history glorifies white people more than it does Black people. In school systems, I think everyone needs to be shown some respect of what they went through, good and bad. But yeah, so I just think we need to get more people on board that says, hey, man, because these kids, in their minds, especially these young white kids or even Black kids, they can feel defeated already in school when they see white people doing so well, saving America, Christopher Columbus, all these presidents are white. So I think we need to show the good and the bad to these children, and somebody needs to step up and show that to them in schooling. So I think we need to just level the playing field a little bit more, because it's very true. The kids are very what's what I'm looking for?
Impressionable,
very impressionable, and we don't need them to see them come out. They need to see that, hey, even white folks, your ancestors did some foul shit, to put you in a position where you are in. Let's show some of that. So make people feel, to do that. So like critical race theory kind of thing. So
sure. And Capone, I know you want to chime in, and as you do, can you say something about the influence that folks like Ice Cube have? Do you think that actually has an effect on situations like this? Does it empower racists to say, well, look, I got my black friend and now they get to say whatever they want now? How do you think that works for you?
I don't think that the subject is pretty much what Ice Cube focused on. I don't know what he focused on. I say that, but I have said this in the beginning of our time at Comedy Hype. Anything that's life-changing is owned by a white institution. The schools are owned by white institutions. To buy a house, you have to go through a white institution. The banks are owned by white institutions. The court system is white institution. All the media, white institution. So therefore, when you have a platform like we have that we speak freely and look at the problem, and we're just a little group together that touches on big subjects, but look at the problem that we have with Black people coming on our forum to speak their mind. We're giving them a forum where you can open up and speak your mind peacefully and openly, but they still refuse to come. So
yeah.
It's very deep.
Yeah, well, they come for me. They come for me.
Symphony, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say I love to get your thoughts. I love from your perspective. What are your thoughts on all this? And I don't even know if I want to say I'm happy to be from South Carolina, but Well, go ahead, Marcus. I'll let you go first. You can ask me, and then you can close us out with what you think.
Okay, my bad. Well, I was gonna say, as far as the situation, I mean, politics are a little more complicated than just saying me and you disagree, so we don't have nothing to talk about. The reality is, if I disagree with you, but you have power, I still have to engage you in some way, even if it's fighting you. And so I do think that it's important for folks to speak up and say that this institution that technically ended hundreds of years ago, but continued on through Jim Crow, through segregation, now in all the mess that we're dealing with now, to say that is a low-hanging fruit. So Tim Scott didn't impress me. None of the Black Republicans impressed me. None of the Republicans impressed me. And the Democrats, I think, are worth bringing up here just to say that they also don't fight well. They don't stand up for stuff well. They're not actually pushing for Black liberation either. Now, can we get a third party? It's a different question than do we need one? We definitely need one. And I hope we get one day. And I hope we're able to dismantle some of the power and structures that exist. But no, I don't give a damn about no Tim Scott. He's foolishness personified. And you can't say that you're pro-Black or that you are not racist, but then support all of the parties and the politics that are pushing us into the ground, that are taking away workers' rights, that are taking away women's abortion rights, that are taking away our schools, that are taking away education, like taking everything. They're takers, right? So this is what Mitt Romney said, that 47% of people are takers. And I think he was talking about his people. They are the ones who are taking everything from us. And so I think there's this conversation that the Dems have where they think, well, if we're nice to them, maybe they'll give it back. And I don't agree with that. I think we got to take it back. But I'm gonna lay that back up to you. That's all I got for today with No Capital. But I want to hear the legendary Symphony Thompson, who is from South Carolina, but is not in line with Tim Scott. She said, I don't know that man. Sorry to this man.
I do not know. Keke Palmer, I do not know this man. Sorry to this man. No, I think Pierre's prop was perfect. It was tap dancing. And I find it funny too at the end when he was saying, oh, you have to sometimes give people an opportunity to clarify and like all these things. But the moment that anyone says anything about the Jewish community, or in the moment that anybody says something about the LGBTQ plus community, they don't get that grace to clarify their statement, or they don't get that grace to, oh, hey, maybe they had a bad day and they didn't say it the right way, and maybe they meant it another way. We don't get that same grace. So no, I'm not giving anybody any grace that says slavery was a benefit to Black people. You said what you said, and Tim Scott was just tap dancing. So no, I'm not in alignment. Pierre's shoes were perfect, like literally on par. It was perfect, and no. I'm from South Carolina, but I'm blind. I can't see who is Tim Scott. So I'll end it there. Thank you so much, Marcus, for giving us clarity on this topic with no capital. I'm going to go ahead and close this out, but before we head out, I'd like to know what you have going on. Marcus, I'll start with you. What do you have coming up? And of course, how can people follow you?
Yeah, I'm at Prof MBJ on every social media site that exists. I wanted to shout out Unite Here 11. That is a hotel workers union in LA that is fighting for better pay. So I want to shout them out. I currently am a part of an organization called the American Political Science Association, who has chosen not to move their annual meeting directly against the request of Unite Here 11. So I wanted to just shout them out and say we stand in solidarity, and there's a whole bunch of Black people and brown people who are going to be pulling out of that conference. So I'll see y'all when I see y'all.
I love to see change. I love it. Pierre, I'm coming to you. Pierre, I'm going to start calling you the prop man. Because it's like you come out the blue with...
Give me props for being the prop man.
Ooh, I like it.
I'll be the prop man, but I didn't know you was from South Carolina, so you'll be my gamecock, okay?
Wow.
That's South Carolina.
You're right.
You're a gamecock, right? You gamecock? Okay.
Oh my gosh. Pierre, what do you have coming up and how can people keep up?
Okay. All right. Shout out. Oh, follow me at Comic Pierre, COMIC PIERRE. Shout out to my man Wayne over there at Delta in Kansas City Airport, man. Shout out to him. You know what it is, man. I appreciate what you looking at. He looked out for me. Had a great week in Vegas. Went to the fights, man. Rocked out. I rolled with my man Earl Spence, man. He didn't win, but I'm a big fan of Terrence Crawford. Did a great job. He's the man right now. Love the love that we were receiving while I was walking around the arena at T-Mobile. People loving Capone, all of us, man. The Symphony, they was crazy about the comedy hype. They kept saying, man, yo, keep doing what y'all doing. So the love is out there in the streets, especially at least the fight game that was out there. So like I said, if you want to follow me, go to Comic Pierre on any social media. And I'm going to take a break. I'm tired, y'all. I've been running. I'm like Capone. I'm tired. So for next week, I ain't going nowhere. You can catch me at my house if you want to, or catch me, somewhere. But catch me in South Carolina. Chase that. See them Gamecocks. Okay.
Capone, this man right here be acting up, and it's only Monday. Capone, what do you have coming up? And of course, how can people follow you?
I'll be in North Carolina this weekend in Charlotte at this Amnesty Lounge, doing my thing. You can follow me at Comedian Capone on Instagram. If you cannot spell comedian, do not follow me.
Damn.
Please follow somebody else. Thank y'all.
I love it. Well, as always, thank you all. Speaking of making Black change, I did just get back from Houston, Texas. I was a part of the National Urban League Conference. A big shout out to Mark Morial and the change that they're making there, 20 plus years. And just so many beautiful things. We talked about, Capone, you mentioned about, Black institutions, how we need Black-owned schools and just different things that we need to own. And shout out to the Amani School. I was able to learn a lot about them. They are in Houston. It's a Black-owned private school that does very well. Even I was looking at the statistics and things that they teach there. And I just think it's so important to make sure, especially in these conversations, we provide solutions. We show, hey, okay, well, if you're interested in this, here are some options that we do have. No, we don't have a lot of Black-owned schools and, all these institutions that we do need to have. However, for the ones that we do, I want to make sure that we shed light on them. So a big shout out to National Urban League Conference and all the things that they're doing, and also to the Amani School. So as always, shout out to Comedy Hype, right? Shout out to Comedy Hype News. We're Black-owned media, so, come on. But as always, I appreciate you all for chiming in. But you heard from us. Now we want to hear from you in the comments below. What are your thoughts about Ice Cube being called a sellout? For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson.
Put it in those comments.
I'll see you in the comments.
Do you know the comedy culture? Play Comedy Hype, the game. Out now.